I just played probably the most insane ranked game of my life in League of Legends. Some of you might be wondering how it can be insane if you're on Silver 4. Well, I was against all the odds. Some of the worst things happening in my team, such as toxicity and one player rage quitting midway. But I was still able to outcome victorious, and now I tell you how it all happened. This is Apodix and let's begin. So the game began with fine team setups on both sides. Our bot lane consisted me as Lucian and my duo teammate Sasha Frush on Lulu. In mid we had Sylas, Kayn on the jungle and Yorick on top lane. Pretty alright overall if you ask me. The enemy team had Caitlyn and Swain facing against us, Vladimir mid against our Sylas, Hecarim taking the jungle, as well as Kled in the top, which was a tough cookie to swallow for our team. At this point, I was no stranger to Lucian as I had a ton of games done prior, so I was pretty confident before heading to this match. I'll now go through the main events what happened in game. So, bot lane begins, we take the old-fashioned bush bait and are able to get Swain's flash and poke him. Classic move and almost always works in this elo. Other lanes and jungles seem to have normal start too, except our top lane. Because it's barely 3 minutes in and the enemy Kled already gets first blood. Guess what happens soon after? Yorick dies again, escalating the top lane situation even more. Then there is this jungle fight and you guessed it, it won't go well even despite Yorick not dying here. Kled gets the double buffs and boom, he is so fed already at this point. Kled 2 levels ahead, he knew how to capitalize in this situation and shockingly, Yorick dies again. Then we proceed few minutes and I just want you to have a wild guess what is the next major thing that's going to happen in this game. Damn straight, more gold to the enemy Kled. Meanwhile in the bot lane we didn't secure a ton of kills early on, but still was able to pressure the enemy enough to keep ourselves ahead. Still, few kills here and there, which I knew I was going to need desperately, because the top lane situation was horrible for us nonetheless. And after gaining few kills in lane, the power spike between the ADCs were showing already, and I knew that I had to take an advantage of the situation I am in. Few crappy misplays by my end here, but I really enjoy our composition, because Lulu enables the ADC to shine due to her insane peel and overall ability kit is just great. Another 2v2 fight breaks in the jungle and nope, it didn't went good for us. So we're able to destroy the first bot lane turret and now it's time to regroup and help others cause they were in desperate need, especially the top lane who had already lost 2 towers at this point. Now that the laning phase is technically over, let's see the overall situation. Our mid, top and jungle had a total of 2 kills and 14 deaths at this point, while me and Sasha were able to get 9 kills in without dying a single time, and the enemy team's highlight is obviously Kled with 12 kills and 1 death, so I knew it was going to be a tough one to overcome his advantage. The first team fight is about the break in mid lane and it's just quite hilarious to me that Yorick was 3 levels behind me at this point. And by the way, I am not here to roast this Yorick player's bad performance, but I think it's important to know how a bad laning phase can have some serious consequences later on in the game. So nothing personal to this player specifically. Kled knew that he was so much ahead and they just roll into us with Hecarim co-joining the front line and I melt in mere seconds. Maybe if I got the Lulu ultimate I might have been survived, but their damage was ridiculous anyways, sweeping our teammates one by one except for Kayn. Then we get back to mid clearing some mobs and you can see how cocky this Kled starts to get as he really wants me dead here, but nope, not this time, and I am able to get the 1000 gold bounty which I really needed at this point. My damage is starting to really ramp up and we capitalized on the Kled's death by scoring more picks in the mid lane, pushing forward, but then Kled comes back and just look how much 4 people are struggling with a single champion. And even I died too, they're able to secure the inhibitor. But to our end it was good because I got more kills to myself, we got Drake and a mid turret as well. Kled went to top lane getting another inhibitor and it was a huge mistake from me not to wait Lulu here before going in because this Kled melted me again. Gladly, the other teammates secured the kills, so not too crappy trade, I guess. I can also notice how Kayn was getting kinda desperate for picks, almost getting this Caitlyn but ending up failing sadly. The chat was also throughout the game getting more or less toxic, people roasting each other how they suck, etc. But nothing was as bad as one thing that happens later on in this game. We'll get to that in just a moment. Another smaller fight emerges in the mid, but thanks to my lifesteal and decent positioning, we were able to get their Hecarim and Kled and few more picks to my gold account. But Kled picks me up again after I stayed too long. Surprise, surprise. The enemy gets the mid inhibitor again, as well as the Drake, so their overall objective control was just so much better in this point, and I really knew that since I had the majority of kills at this point, I really needed to be careful now how I position and approach these upcoming fights. But then it hits. The worst possible thing yet to come for our team. I believe it was due to an argument between our teammates, but Sylas goes AFK out of nowhere and won't going to return to this game, so the remaining had to be done in 4 vs 5 fashion. Yikes. Let's briefly take a look at the stats now. The only big dogs were myself with 27 kills, exceeding Kled's 22 kills, but he was still quite a tough one to beat. And now with 4 vs 5 battles from here on out, not a good situation for my team. The game proceeds as the enemy wants our second bot lane turret, but the situation is just so overwhelming and we cannot defend it. Then they decide to dive us and force a teamfight. Few kills were traded back and forth, but thanks to my positioning here, it went pretty alright actually. Also, important note here that most of the time we just had to defend the base because the super minions were very strong, which caused the enemy to secure more other objectives such as Drakes and a Baron or two. They force another teamfight and really want my head, as can be seen in their commitment, but my careful positioning and approaching in these fights really paid off, even despite our Yorick and Kayn died here. I also changed my boots to Navori quick plates somewhere around this point just to get a bit more of that extra damage while having a 100% crit chance. I was really strong at this point and I could not afford to die here or the game will be very likely lost. Next, the enemy pressures us by taking the mid inhibitor again, but decides to back off after that. Their Swain had a bad positioning, allowing me to get some extra gold. However, this Kayn really went too far, as he just dies to the enemy, so 1-for-1 trade in the end. After dealing with a ton of more minions, another fight breaks in near our base, and I immediately capitalized on their split positioning, getting their Swain with ease until Hecarim and Kled jumps onto me. But again, my decent positioning and thanks to the peel from Lulu, I was able to overcome by not dying, and we also secured the Baron at this point. Nice! Then comes up a stupid risky move as Kayn really wanted this dragon, so yippee-yay, he dies again and we're forced to retreat because of the minion pressure. Time for another teamfight, 3 vs 5, and again their cockiness did not pay off as I got 3 of their teammates and later on the rest of the 2 thanks to Lulu's peel and my big damage, but we stayed too long even we got the inhibitor and one of their Nexus turrets. Surprisingly, Yorick was able to do some work as well, winning this Hecarim in 1 vs 1 and getting few towers, which really helped the situation. And even though he had the worst early game possible, I can still appreciate that he pursued on and never gave up at any stage in the game. Then another fight breaks in and it was really terrible for myself and Lulu to get so split here, even though I could finish up Hecarim. But a great example nonetheless how bad positioning as ADC can really screw up the teamfight for you. And not cancelling my ultimate early enough was a bad one too. I was honestly afraid that it's the end for us, right here, right now. But Yorick and Kled both survive, so therefore Kled could not end the game. Then we respawn again and start to counter-push the mid lane. Swain gets badly positioned and we get an easy pick. It's down to the last fight and this Kled is getting furious towards me as he really wants me dead. But due to their overextending matter, I was able to kite their greediness and secure 3 kills before ending the game. I gotta say, even though the early game was overall bad for our team, as well as the toxicity and Sylas going AFK midway, we still were able to win and it really felt good, I gotta be honest. So what's the moral of the story? If there is even a slightest chance to win in League games, never give up. The result screen was also a blast, Yorick being so thankful for my carry skills, and a bit later on some bad words from their Kled, because he lost after getting so big of an advantage, but we went to late game and ADC will do better in terms of damage than a bruiser top champion, at least in most scenarios. Well, that's it for the story time of how I beat the odds and became victorious in the end. I wanted to do different style of videos for a change, and I hope this was enjoyable to you. Like this video as it helps me out a ton, especially with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Also, check out my other social media pages in the video description as well, and let me know in the comments what was your most epic game you've ever played in League of Legends. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Apodix, and have a nice day.